It's funny. As a YouTuber, I always thought that I would be one of those people that manages to sort of stay out of any career-ending drama. However, me being me, of course I overlooked a small thing. The fact that I am an idiot. Before I continue, I want to mention a big disclaimer here. Things in this video will be censored. Some viewers don't particularly like listening to topics about this, and I didn't want to put a disclaimer saying watch at your own discretion, because this is quite an important topic to do with me, and I would prefer if as many people as possible would listen to it. However, this does mention specific topics that, well, some people would find not ideal to listen to, or could trigger things. It's for this reason that I have decided to censor things. Names will also be censored. Please don't go sending hate to anybody mentioned in the video if you know them. That won't solve anything, and as far as I'm concerned, this situation is about as good as solved as it can already be. With that being said, let's do some explaining. So, let's start. This all started with me on Discord mentioning something that I'd been keeping from everybody for about 3 years. You see, I as a person really like attention. I wouldn't call myself I can't speak. I wouldn't call myself an attention seeker. However, I would just say that I enjoy having attention centered around me. Mainly because I struggle in social situations, and if the attention is on me, it's a lot easier for me to think of a topic to speak about that would make a conversation flow. If the attention is not on me, I find it very hard to start a conversation. And obviously, conversations are how you interact with people online. That's kind of the bread and butter. So, I slowly started to figure out a way that I could start a conversation that would ease all of my overthinking. Because beforehand, I would have to think about what to say, how to say it, is it spelt correctly, will anyone even find it interesting, or anything like that. My mind would loop. Now, I do want to mention, before I continue actually, none of what I'm saying here is supposed to be coming across as justification or trying to escape the blame, because the reality is what I did was wrong, and I know it was wrong. I just find it hard to explain things sometimes that make it sound like I know it's wrong. I am here to purely explain the situation and my side of it, because currently the only side that people have heard are from people that don't like me. So, things may get misunderstood or not said correctly, and I want it coming from me. So, let me continue. I came up with a way to start a conversation that would work well and would only have few possible outcomes, because, as I said, before that I'd have to think of every outcome and prepare a reply for that. So, I slowly got into a thing of lying. It's not great, and to start off with, it was actually very minor lies. Things I wouldn't even consider a lie, just misspoken truth. Those are really not important. It was things like, I've actually forgotten what a lot of them were, but it was minor things like lying about where I lived, for example, and just things in my day-to-day life. However, this soon got a lot worse. I figured out that those could still have possible outcomes that I'd have to think about, and my brain for some reason decided to start lying about tragic events. Things that would put me in harm, or in some cases, hospital. Well, most cases actually. You see, these are topics that weren't entirely false, but they were definitely very, very exaggerated. A situation would have happened, but my brain just goes, yep, this significantly worse event actually happened, so you should go tell people that. Yeah, it's really not great, and I'd rather not, again, as I said, say specifically what went on, because, again, triggers. This is the online world, and I need to be careful with what I'm saying when anyone can view a video like this. So yeah, I lied about basically injuring myself. In many ways, actually. And there were also a few smaller things I lied about, which I will cover now, as they are to do with my channel. And I want to be very clear here. So, let me start with something. The Nest main storage and Hive main storage both don't work correctly. I had previously said that they didn't work at all. This was on Discord. However, that isn't entirely true. I just sort of wanted to get the point across that they don't work as they should, so I misspoke. However, let me correct myself. That isn't entirely true, as I just mentioned. What actually is true is they don't work correctly. I very quickly rushed them to get to a deadline that I set myself, which to be honest, it wasn't a huge thing. Like, I could have waited a few days and made it properly. But there were countless things that were rushly wired and had multiple edge cases, or things that were just linked together by a water stream, no hopper locking or anything. Yeah. And there were also just cases of things that weren't actually wired in the video, but I said were. This is because in the original idea for that storage, is I was going to release a sort of fixed version, which was everything actually working as it should and wired as it should. However, I never actually got round to that before Mojang decided to have a bit of a Mojang moment and delete the world. We can never have anything right on Bedrock, I swear. This is actually the reason I didn't want to give a world download for that storage. It just didn't work properly, so why would I give a download for it? Admittedly, I shouldn't have made that video, and I should have just waited, or at least explained that. And I didn't, but, well, it happened now, and we can't change the past. If enough of you want, I will just private the video, so that I, don't gain anything off it anymore. Because we are a community after all. As much as you may want something, I want something too. And I want the best for my community. So if you want me to private that video or the Hive video, I absolutely will. Let me know. Or just in general, if you think I should private it is the right thing to do, as well, let me know, because I don't really know what to do. Anyway, back onto the main topic here. Discord. After I confessed to everything to the HiveTech team, I sort of continued to lie. I made alt accounts, I said things that weren't entirely true to do with my college, and I sort of tried to put the blame on a HiveTech member. However, I never specified which one, because if I did, it would be very obvious that I was lying. I did this mainly because, again, I was given attention. And as I had just mentioned but previously in this video, I really, really like attention. So while people were giving me the attention, I continued to lie. Yeah, not the right thing to do, I know this. I don't need telling that. However, everything I did say during those times was completely false. Basically, none of what I said during those few days after were even true, remotely. Now, let's talk about the elephant in the room, which kind of really didn't help my situation. One of the alts I made was called Chettle. Funny name, but oh well. And its entire purpose was to just go to every single Discord server, which was like big, and give them a list of all of my alts to just immediately ban. I did this because I have many Discord accounts for various reasons. And I didn't want the power to be able to join these Discord servers that clearly didn't want me around and cause yet more problems. However, yet again, the attention seeker in me got a hold. I joined Amalix and immediately was welcomed and everything, and oh boy, yep, that was the fate sealed. I continued to lie, said I was a guy from London, but blah blah blah, everything. I even eventually got to the point that they suspected it was me. I mean, fair enough. But I continued to lie and make fake things to prove myself. I literally downloaded a VPN to make my IP in London so that I could show them a screenshot of my IP in London. I'm not proud of that. I'm not proud of any of this. But that's what happened. And as some people want me to, I'm being very honest here and explaining the full situation without really trying to put any emotional weight on this, so bear with me. I did eventually send them the list of alts, but again, in a very weird way. I basically said that me, Firebee, had sent them a doc saying about my master plan, saying that everything I had done up to this point was completely planned in a document years before any of this. Yeah, I don't know why I did that. I really don't, because that wasn't even attention seeking at that point. It was basically just to clear the Chettle account of my name, which didn't work in the end, but oh well. Anyway, I sent them the list of alts. They were quickly banned, so yay. The other thing I want to mention is I was actually called out by somebody that the storyline for my alt didn't line up. And this was the point that I decided to just stop. I saw that I'd done enough, I had sent them the list of alts, my purpose there was done. So I just deleted the account, and I also said that I was going to delete my main account. However, I had a mind shift. Wow, that's a new thing. I had a mindset change during this time. That my main account shouldn't be deleted. The alt, absolutely. But my main account shouldn't. At the end of the day, what I did was wrong. I understand that. And I've never once said it wasn't wrong. However, trying to delete everything isn't a way to solve it. It would be in the short term, because it would get my name away from everything, because my name wouldn't exist anymore. But in the end, all I'm going to do is make a new account, and knowing me, I'm not going to mention that it's me, and I'm just going to pretend, and oh my word, then the whole cycle starts again. So, I decided to keep my main account and go into the building world. I mean, as you can kinda see. However, some people, not naming names, thought that I was again being dishonest. Now, I don't actually understand why, because it's my account. If I said I was gonna delete it and didn't, then that's my decision to make. However, this person decided to come into my DMs and say, time is ticking. Time is ticking to what exactly? Who knows? Don't care. But they were like, oh well, you should delete your account. Here's the thing. Nobody gets to dictate that except me. If I want to delete my account, I will delete my account. If I don't, I don't. Nobody else apart from me gets to dictate if my account gets deleted or not. And correct me if I'm wrong, but I feel like that's more than justifiable. If I don't want to delete my account, I'm not going to delete my account. If I want to delete my account, I will. It's that simple. Nobody else is going to have any input on that. And I have no hate to that person. Let me clear that up. A lot of people thought I did, but, I mean, hating somebody for trying to, fix the situation, well, who would I be if I was to hate somebody for that? They thought I was going to delete my account, and I didn't. So it's more than fair that they would come and ask about it. They just didn't do it in the right way, in my opinion. Now, let me just mention one thing. In all the lies and drama and everything that happened, there were a few good things I actually did that I feel just got overlooked. But oh well, that doesn't really matter. What happened, happened. However, I did apologise to every single person in my DMs list that was, in my opinion, affected by it. I think I missed like 1 or 2 people, but for the most part, I did apologise to each person individually, and I made the apology personal to them. I didn't just copy and paste the same thing to every single person. One of the people involved in all of my lies and drama was somebody that got banned for 7 months because of what I said. Basically, I said something and they said something slightly unhinged afterwards, and the group as a whole just decided to ban them for 7 months, which, looking back at it, was actually not the right thing to do, in my opinion. Forgetting the lie, but like, banning someone for that long, like, banning them at all seemed a bit wrong to me, but oh well. In return, I have been banned for 7 months due to the lies, which, fair enough. Because yes, let me also mention this, as a few people have asked. I am no longer the owner of HiveTech, or what it's now known as is Prism. You see, they renamed it. I don't really care, I told them they could. But here's the thing. I still don't agree with renaming the server. I don't agree with the takeover, I don't agree with any of it. However, that's my problem. If they want to do that, by all means, go ahead. What makes a good community is disagreements and having to make sacrifices. And in my situation, that's a pretty big sacrifice to make. However, it's fine. That's a sacrifice I'm willing to make. I will never agree with the name, and I will never agree with their decisions to do what they did. But that's my problem. It's nothing that they did wrong. If they want to erase my name from everything, fair enough. I already deleted a ton of archived posts because I didn't want my builds being used with my name currently being as bad as it is. People deserve better than, well, me. So, let's recap. I lied about a lot of things, and that is because I have autism and I struggle in social situations, and I did it for attention. I understand this is wrong, and again, I am not justifying my actions. What I did is completely messed up, and I agree with everything that's happened to me for that. I have my own opinions on this, however, those aren't what need to be shared. Because talking about opinions can sometimes, as I've found out, can sometimes make people take them the wrong way as a fact. And in my current situation, I'd rather not stir the pot more than it already has been. With that being said, there is another thing I want to cover. I had previously, kinda threatened people. Let me get one thing straight. That was not true. I said it like it was, and I wanted them to believe it. Because, again, that was to clear my alt's name. But none of that was true, and let me just kind of put this in perspective for you. I currently have a lot going on, and I don't think any reasonable person my age, in my current situation, would at all be able to fly to a completely different country and do whatever they wanted to do. You see, here's the thing. I don't even have a passport. So yeah, I would have a tricky time trying to do that. But again, that is just proof that what I'm saying during that time was complete bollocks. Like, none of it. And I mean none of it was true, even remotely. I really like the HiveTech people, and I honestly wish them the best. Without me or with me, that server will continue, and I really hope it does. I built the server, and I sort of founded it in a way. And what kind of person would I be if I wanted to destroy it? Because a lot of people had the thought that I would want to, or I'd want to nuke it because I said I would. And again, that's just another case of me lying to have attention. But whatever. I want to make it clear, by the way, I still have the power to do a lot of damage. I just don't need to, nor would I want to. So, hopefully, that covers everything in a way that people can understand the situation. Now, I'm going to explain things that could be seen as justification, and it's not. I just want to drive home why I did what I did. As mentioned, I struggle with wanting attention. This is because I have a hard time sometimes feeling like I'm even a person, which could seem a bit deep and emotional, but we'll continue. It's because I have autism, and part of that is wanting to figure out things and be very factual about things, which I know comes rich considering I was lying about a lot of things, but bear with me. When I made those lies about everything, it was clearly for attention. I want the attention because I want to be better at social interactions. I struggle in social situations because I'm autistic. Do you see the loop here? Basically, the same thing that makes me lie and worse at a social situation is the same thing that wants me to fix my social situation. It's honestly very difficult to deal with. And I don't feel like this topic is spoken about enough in general. You see, not many people understand how any person can feel. And as for me, I don't understand how I feel most of the time. I don't experience emotions, nor can I experience the consequences of my actions until it happens. That is why I said what I did, and I immediately carried on lying about it. Because I knew if I was like, oh hey, no, actually that's not true, people would be like, well, what the fuck did you say it for then? So, it's one of those things that it's like, I carried it on to sort of save my name, but at the same time, carrying it on destroyed my name. So, yeah, there was really no way out of that. The moment I said it, I was screwed. With that being said, I would also like to mention something. I had previously mentioned a few times, of wanting to, how can I say this? End myself, let's say. And this isn't entirely false. When I said it, I was fine. But I do have those thoughts occasionally, and I would never go through with any of them. I just have those thoughts sometimes. Because I'm a curious person, and I like to think, well, if I wanted to, how could I? Which, yeah, that's messed up, I get it, but that's how my brain works. So, hopefully, now I've explained why I did what I did, and sort of emphasised that I know it's wrong, yet again, and explained the situation here on YouTube for my YouTube viewers to know the situation. I hope this has cleared everything up in a way that I can actually continue with my life, and not deal with any more of this drama. I don't blame people for what they did, but constantly DMing me about this does not help the situation. And especially when I get DMs being outright mean. There is a difference between being annoyed and just being mean. And I'm not trying to play that, oh, they're being mean to me, weh. No. I've been safeguarded over this, so yay. Because that's the other thing. I have now gotten help for this. Because I realised I cannot deal with this on my own, and if I try to, it's just gonna happen again. So, as a lot of people suggested I did, I got a lot of help. And that is actually why I'm making this video now. Because I can talk about it in a way that doesn't come across as trying to, justify anything. Because I've been taught ways of explaining things in a way that can help get my point across without getting misinformation too. So, as I said, like explaining that what I'm saying isn't justification, because before I wouldn't, because I just assumed, well, obviously it's not, why would it be? So, that has helped mildly. And as mentioned, I have now been safeguarded over this. If you don't know what that means, I'm basically under essentially 24 supervision. Sorry, I cannot speak today, my word. I'm basically under 24/7 supervision. All of my online activities are monitored, and my general health is also monitored pretty much all the time. This isn't just because of what happened on Discord, but my social life in general. So yes. Be rest assured, I am getting help, and it's working a lot. As for Hivetech, or as it's now known, Prism, I wish it the best. I don't see myself returning. I've been banned for 7 months, and I don't really care. I don't see myself returning to that server anytime soon, if at all. Mainly because I don't feel welcome in the TMC community anymore. It's why I'm doing building, and it's why I'm doing what I'm doing. I sort of sealed my fate, and I know that. People may forgive me in time, but I won't forgive myself, and this is something I had mentioned previously. As much as people might forgive me in due time, I won't forgive myself, because I did a lot of bad, and I caused a lot of harm to a lot of people. It's actually worth mentioning that I had previously mentioned that I lie a lot on Discord to a very, very trusted Hivetech member. I just didn't explain to the lengths. I literally said that the online version of me isn't actually remotely similar to me in person, which is very true. However, I am fixing that. Being part of the building community has sort of opened the door for me to sort of prove myself in a way, that I can work in a social situation and not lie, and so far, it's going great, to be fair. Anyway, that is all I have to say. If there is anything I forgot to mention, I will happily answer them in the comments. If you have anything to say about this that is actually constructive feedback, or, just want to input your own thing into it, by all means, leave a comment. However, if you just leave an outright rude or trying to, again, spread misinformation, or make me out to be worse than I am, or anything of the sorts, your comment will be deleted. Wow, sue me, I don't care. You see, I'm trying to make this situation right, and people trying to continue to argue a situation is not going to help. So for that reason, as I literally just said, any just outright mean or rude comments will be deleted. I don't care what you think of that, that's what's happening. Anyway, that is all I have to say. And for now, it's goodbye.